Hi everyone, this is Ivan with IvanMisner.com, and I have a gentleman here who has been on a lot of my blogs, video blogs, John Gray. John wrote a book that I know everybody has heard of, Mars and Venus. And let me tell you something, full disclosure, my wife and I read this book long before we knew you, John, and it absolutely changed our lives and our marriage. We read it together. I read a chapter. Actually, she read a chapter.
Right.
Then I read a chapter. Then she read a chapter, and it was amazing. But what John has done is he's got something now, a new book that goes beyond Mars and Venus,
right.
and that's the title. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, it's new relationship skills for our modern world. I wrote Men Are From Mars over 25 years ago, and really it helped men and women understand where they're coming from, our differences, because often when we don't understand, if the differences show up, we tend to be judgmental and we tend to do the wrong thing. And so that has helped millions of people improve their relationships. In some cases, it helped their partner leave someone because they realize it really is hopeless. So it's not always like it's a cure for everything.
Right.
But what has happened over the last 25 years is a major shift in the roles that we play in the world. And that's why I call it Beyond Mars and Venus. The traditional role of men, women many times are doing the traditional role of men. And that has a huge impact on the relationship. So what we see is even more trouble in marriage and relationships. And what part of the insight of Beyond Mars and Venus is we're no longer limited to the old role of man as provider, he makes the money, woman stays home with the children. As soon as women start going out to be more independent and expressing their independent, self-reliant side, making money and so forth, it changes the dynamic of men and women. And we don't have any role models of how do you have an equal relationship, good communication, and happiness. Because what happens is when women go over and do traditional male jobs, it stimulates male hormones, and that lowers her female hormones, and the symptom of that is elevated stress levels and feelings of overwhelm, of gotta, have to, and it's very hard for them to relax their brain when their male hormones are more than their female hormones. So what I do is I teach men how to help their wives come back to the female hormones. I teach women what they can do to use their husbands to come back to the female hormones. And a lot of that has to do with new communication skills, new distinctions, new insights, as well as romantic skills, communication skills, affection, touching. All that kind of stuff is now more necessary than ever before because those are the things that stimulate the female hormones. And when men can do that, then what they experience is their testosterone, the male hormone, actually goes higher. And that's important too because as the average man gets older, his testosterone levels start to drop. And it doesn't have to be that way. As a 65-year-old man, my testosterone levels are 25% higher than I was a young man. And this is actually true in indigenous tribes. And so today in our modern world, due to a lot of toxicity, but also the new relationship challenges, men's testosterone tends to go down, women's estrogen levels go down, and women need to have 20 times more estrogen than a man, and men need to have at least 20 times more testosterone than a woman, and that's what creates the chemistry and the attraction. So we can all sustain that if we have good relationship skills to balance our hormones on a biological level.
So we just heard John do a fantastic presentation here at the Transformational Leadership Council meeting in Tucson. It was fantastic. I urge you to go out. Now, a lot of my stuff is about business, but you know what? If you don't have a good home life, I'm here to tell you, business is not nearly as fun and you're not nearly as successful if you don't have a good home life. This is great content. I heard him speak on this. I'm picking up a copy of the book because it's incredible stuff. I urge you to do the same. Thank you, John, for being on. I really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
You're a great man here.
This is Ivan with IvanMisner.com, here with John Gray. Thanks for watching.